What do you do when you never received closure or clarity after your breakup? This is to be expected, especially if you were the one who was dumped. Even more so when the circumstances of the relationship ended due to you getting cheated on, replaced, mistreated, taken advantage of, used. Perhaps it's already been a few months since your relationship has ended and you still feel nostalgic. You feel stuck, emotionally speaking, and you just can't move on. What do you do? Well, in this video, I'm going to share a very simple exercise you can do, which will give you a sense of clarity. In order to do so, and break this whole thing down, I have an email from a subscriber in which he has been going through exactly that. He has nostalgic thoughts about his ex, and he details how he's been using this exercise, which I'm going to get into, which has actually helped him a little bit to move on and give him a sense of closure, peace, clarity. So with that said, let's get right into it. So he writes in, and I will keep his name anonymous, call him Jimmy. Hi Christian, it's Jimmy again. I really trust your opinion and wanted to share some things with you if you have the time. I would really appreciate your thoughts on this. Perhaps share it with your viewers if you think it's a valid thing and serves the purpose of helping others get through their breakups and improve their relationships. I was just reflecting on why I still couldn't get my ex out of my head, and I get nostalgic sometimes. Even though I've completely moved on and I would throw her out on the street if she ever tries to come back into my life for any reason. But something keeps giving her that rent-free space in my head and I can't get her out. She just keeps popping in my head every few days when I see or smell any reminder. Interesting. And then I start feeling miserable again. Of course, those episodes have been getting shorter and farther apart over the months, and the feelings are not dysfunctional. Just nostalgic for a few minutes. But this never happened with any of my previous relationships. And in his previous relationship, his ex simply found a replacement, rushed into another relationship. In other words, there was a sense of betrayal there. That's why. It didn't happen on his terms. He was still involved and invested emotionally in the relationship. He didn't see it coming. You see, when a breakup ends under amicable circumstances, you and your ex sit down, you talk about it. Either you're the one to bring up the breakup or it's just simply mutual. You have closure. You sit down, you discuss everything. You part ways on good terms. You wash your hands, you clean, and off you go. You're going to be okay. For whatever reason, you both realize that you're incompatible. You're growing apart. You want different things out of life, right? Perhaps she had to move to a different city and you didn't want to do long distance. Whatever happened to be, it ended in a respectful manner. That's easy to get over. You grieve, you take some time, and you move on. But when you get involved with someone who is narcissistic, they have other toxic traits, they take advantage, they mistreat you, they betray you, and you get blindsided by that, not only did you not see the breakup coming, but your integrity and dignity was violated. That's why it's very difficult to move on, especially if they simply leave, they run off, maybe they block you because they're with someone else, they don't want to hear from you, and you never get closure. You never get to sit down and say, hey, what's going on? Why did you do this to me? And that's what happened to him. That's why in all of his previous relationships, which ended in a very good way, he was okay, he didn't get nostalgic, he moved on. But in this case, it still lingers in the back of his mind. Let's carry on. I remembered something I read many years ago. When I was reading about self-improvement, efficiency, and memory. You know, I've always been a staunch reader and I like getting to the bottom of things. I just never thought I should read about relationships and philosophy until my last break. That's usually what happens to most men and women. They think they have it all under control, but it's when you go through some serious difficulty, hardships, you were blindsided. You were leading with your lust, your emotions, your feelings. You weren't seeing things clearly. You brushed aside the red flags, and it crumbles down. Then you go looking for answers. Then you're ready to learn. This thing is called the Zeigarnik Effect. I'll write it down below in the description. You guys can check it out. It is a psychological phenomenon described by a Soviet psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik. So she was actually Lithuanian, Soviet type thing. I looked it up. And this was in the 20th century. It briefly states that the brain doesn't forget an unfinished job. She did an experiment on a waiter who was famous in her town for memorizing all the orders by heart without writing them down, no matter how large or complex they were, and would never make a mistake. She took many friends out to dinner and asked them all to make different orders and observed his response. Of course, the waiter had no problem remembering all of them perfectly, and even when they tried to confuse him. But almost an hour later, as soon as he flawlessly placed all the items on the table, she covered it with a large cloth and asked him to repeat the items for her. He completely messed it up. The job was finished. That is because the job was indeed finished, and the brain erased it and moved on to the next one. Very interesting. So if you're the one who gets dumped, you didn't get any closure, you're stuck, you're frozen. You didn't get your answers. You didn't get any clarity, right? It's not a result for you, it's not finished. So he said, if the job is not finished, the subconscious brain keeps obsessing about it. I've observed this many times in my life, he says. He gives a few examples of what's happened to him. Number one, during school. As soon as I would finish my finals, I start forgetting about the subjects that I scored an A+ in. 2 weeks into the summer, and I can't even remember the basics. That is because the job was done and my brain moved on. This was true for me at school, university, all of that. You finish an exam, you forget about everything you studied a couple of weeks later. Unless it was something really meaningful, impactful, that was special to you, or that you still use today, you're going to forget about it. So that's very true. So in regards to this Zeigarnik effect, however you pronounce it, that's what happened. The job was finished. It's done. Your brain moves on to the next. Second example. Many Nobel Prize winners solved very complex problems in their sleep. The job wasn't finished and the subconscious brain would obsess about it, even in their sleep. This shows you how deep your thoughts can affect you, even when you numb your conscious brain and go to rest. The subconscious brain never stops obsessing. And that's very true. Number three, I used it to help with procrastination. I would start the first part of a complex task and leave it. My brain would just keep obsessing about it till I finish it. Sometimes weeks or months later, but it stays in the back of your mind. It's like an itch. You got to get it done. And that's true, I agree. That's happened to me many times. The next one. In my studies, I never finish a chapter fully. I always leave the last paragraph, so it actually improves my memory. That's very interesting. It's an unfinished job, and my brain keeps that spot open and running. So what he's basically doing is tricking his brain to think that the job isn't finished. So it lingers in the back of his mind, and then it keeps him focused on getting back to actually get the job done. Interesting. The next one, now this gets a little bit more serious. When I lost my father to cancer, I'm sorry to hear that, Jimmy. He gave me closure, and I got to tell him all I wanted long before he passed away. It was painful for me to watch him go, but I moved on with my life pretty quickly. I did everything necessary for my brain. It was a finished job. So you got to grieve, and heal. And he felt like he got his final say with his father. Everything he wanted to get off his chest. He was at peace. He was relaxed. So even when it came to be when his father did pass, he was almost prepared for it in a way. Even though you're still going to grieve and suffer, he got the closure he needed. Very, very interesting. The next one, when I lost my twin brother. I'm also sorry to hear that. It was sudden, in a car accident. I never got closure, and I couldn't tell him anything. He just vanished from my life, and the job was never finished. So, compare that to what happened before. When his father passed away, he got to talk to him about everything. He had his peace. Obviously, in this case, his twin brother. And I know twins. And it's true, twins have a very close bond. So, that must have been very painful. But not only that, it happened in a sudden manner, and his brother vanished just like that. He never got to sit down and have any final words with him. So, in his brain, the job was never finished. This is why I'm still traumatized by it many years later. There you go. Well, in regards to your father and your brother, I hope they rest in peace. Carrying on, now we're going to get into the whole relationship section. I'm a former surgeon turned internist. I don't claim to know much on human psychology, but I think the Zeigarnik Effect applies to breakups as well. The dumper says everything he or she wants and essentially gets the job done. In their brain, obviously, and then moves on quickly. Especially if they monkey branch. Well, if they monkey branch, they're narcissistic anyway. So, this is why they never care to even look back and always think that the dumpy is weak and pity them for obsessing. Isn't that true? If you're somebody who gets dumped, you don't see it coming, what's your first reaction? You want to get them back. The amount of emails I've had from guys telling me how they have all these flowers and chocolates and they write all these love letters to try and get their ex back when they've walked away. If somebody walks away, let them go. As long as there was no cheating involved, no replacements, if it was a good relationship and you maybe just had fights and arguments, give them that time and space. Because in most cases, when people break up, in the moment that's what they think they want. Give them some time away. And if you had a good relationship, no cheating involved, they didn't line up for a replacement, maybe you said or did things to push them away, or they're dealing with certain issues in their life which makes them emotionally unavailable, let them go. Go no contact. And if they care, they might come back. But if that person betrayed you, you should not want them back. Pay attention to that, what I just said. But it's true. I've had lots of guys email me, tell me they've done exactly that. They get dumped, and they start trying to remind them how good it was at the beginning. Here's some flowers, here's some chocolates, I love you, all these things, right? To try and get their ex back. And when someone's made their mind up, you got to let them take the decision. You can't force that. But it's true, that does happen. So he says, this is why they never care to even look back and always think that the dumpy is weak and pity for obsessing about them. But the dumpy, in my case, says Jimmy, never got closure. That's what I was saying. That's exactly what I was saying at the beginning of the video. I just got dumped and blocked. There you go. So many things I wanted to say. Terrible things because she's a cheater. But I never got to say them to her face. She ran off like a coward. And obviously, naturally, you wanted to have your peace. You wanted to tell her what was on your mind. The job was not finished in my brain, and that is why I keep obsessing about her. It's like I haven't fully healed, even though I see her for who she really is. I've completely moved on, and I'm dating a woman of a much higher value. Luckily, my new girl trusts me so far, and I've been completely honest with her, and she wants us to heal together. This never happened to me in the past, because all of my breakups were mutual and respectful. What was I saying before? We always said everything we wanted and kept in touch for a while, until we were both healed naturally and started dating other people. That's mature. The only time when I had to suddenly pull myself away from was when I had to pull myself away from a very crazy and dangerous person. She ended up stalking me halfway across the world since 2016 until now. Sounds great. The job was never finished in her brain, but I had no other option because she put my life in danger. Yeah. So you deal with a woman that's got, cluster B or some type of mental illness or severe character flaws. Yeah. Maybe a vindictive narcissist even. Yeah, you've got no choice but to cut them off, block them. But you can see the analogy. She wasn't over him. It didn't happen on her terms, so she's still chasing him down. But look at all of his other breakups. They were mutual and respectful. That was it. That story has ended. Now we can write a new one. Here are the things I believe would help a dumpee, someone who got, especially you guys watching, you got cheated on, you're looking for answers. A harsh breakup is difficult. Here are some things I believe would help the dumpee after they've already started to heal but can't stop thinking about their ex. Number 1, understanding the problem. It had nothing to do with her or me. It's a psychological phenomenon, and those feelings are normal. Just embrace them. Very well said. Number 2, time will eventually make them fade away. As long as you see your ex for who they really are. Accept things for what they are. Don't live in fantasy land. Don't deceive yourself. Just trust the process. One thing that is truly healing for me is how you told my story on that previous video. This guy is from the video Moving On After Monkey Branching Success Story, which I will have linked at the end, so you guys can take a look in case you haven't seen it. I saved it and I keep replaying it, especially when you said you got your balls back. Words of support from trusted family and friends go a long way. Very true. Well, you're more than welcome, and thank you for sharing your story. That was a very good one. It helped a lot of people. Number 3, journaling. Write down why your ex is a terrible person. Or make sure they've actually done something terrible. If they just dumped you because she thinks you guys are incompatible, whatever happened to be, you don't need to do that, of course. This is for the people who have been betrayed. You've had your dignity violated. Then you can write that down. Write specific incidents, such as when she cheated on you. Come back and read it whenever you have doubtful feelings. Very good. When you put your feelings, which are all over the place, on paper, it's set in stone. You can see your emotional state for what it is. And whenever you have moments where you think, oh, I want them back, I'll give them another chance, go read that again. I'll wake you up to reality. Right? Snap back to reality. There you go. Get rid of all the reminders. She dumped you. You dump her belongings in the trash, he says. I like that. If it is something expensive that would get you in trouble, give it to a friend who can return it to her, or just put it away in storage. That's mature. That's how it should be. Yeah, you don't want to be that vindictive guy or gal, ladies, that trashes nice things that an ex gave you. Try to return it to them, or you simply give it away to a homeless person, right? Do a good deed. How about that? If it is a place or a perfume, then it's okay to build new memories with them. Go to the same place with different friends and have fun with them. Take lots of pictures and videos. Exactly, get comfortable going back to those locations with your family, with your friends, with your loved ones, or by yourself, right? You have to break past that barrier or that fear. A lot of people are so afraid to revisit venues or areas they would frequent with an ex. Whether it's fear that you might run into them or that you're going to keep being reminded of them, that's okay. You must feel it to heal it. You've got to get past it. If you hide and run from your emotions, it's just going to be bottled deep within you. And eventually it's going to explode later on in life, and you don't want that. So you must deal with them now. Process them. Accept them. Feel them, right? And that's good. You rewire your brain. You go back to those same locations and you start to feel comfortable again. Go back to the same pictures every now and then to burn a new memory in your brain. Spray that perfume everywhere you go, or just simply throw it away. Maybe you have, I don't know, a sister, daughter, auntie, your mother, your grandma, whoever. You can give the perfume to them. Unless you want to return. Of course, it's up to you. Over time, you will associate them with new memories, even if they are not necessarily happy memories. And that's okay, but that's a very good tip. So now we get into the exercise that I mentioned at the very beginning. This is the one I really recommend for everyone, man or woman. Okay? Everyone should definitely do this, especially if the circumstances of your breakup were betrayal. You got monkey punched on. This is really going to help you. Definitely will get your confidence back. A good exercise when these emotions begin to surface again is to write a letter to your ex. And of course, never send it. I mean, especially if you're blocked, what are you going to do, huh? But just write everything you wanted to say and take your time. Once you are done, you should burn it or throw it away. Don't keep rereading. This rewires your brain at some level that you have actually finished the job. That's the Zeigarnik Effect. I'll repeat that. It rewires your brain at some level that you have actually finished the job and said everything you want. You can keep repeating it every few days, but you will notice that after the first time, all the emotions will start fading away and you will have nothing more to write. That's amazing. If you are emotional, and again, you can do this for anything. You're angry at someone, you're very upset, write everything down on a piece of paper. How they screwed you over, what they did that was wrong. And you will see, because you visualize it all, right? It's right in front of you. How your emotions will be all unstable because you're going to be saying rude, nasty things in regards to your feelings, and you burn that. A few days later, you feel like there's still more you've got to say. The next time you get that piece of paper out, your emotions would have stabilized a little bit more. You're calmer now. You've got it on paper. This gives you a sense of control. That gives you clarity. Why? Because it's almost like you're sending them that letter, but you're actually doing it for your own heart, to help you move on, to let yourself know that it's okay. You get a piece of paper, you write down everything. You're a cheating scumbag. You know, you're never going to be happy. You're going to end up alone, right? Anything bitter, anything hateful, spiteful, which you may be feeling, let it all out. Write it all down. You shred that letter. You burn that letter. Throw it in the trash. Do whatever you want to. And that is a way to alleviate that pain. Because what's happened after a difficult breakup? An external source, which is your ex, has caused you pain. That pain goes within you. It's stuck in here. That pain ain't going anywhere until you move through it. So when you get a piece of paper and you write down your emotions, your feelings, everything you wanted to say to them, what happens? The pain that's in here is now coming out. The little pieces are breaking free onto that letter, that you're writing. But now you're the one who's in control because you're writing it. You are doing it. Right? That gives you a sense of emotional stability now. So you'll burn it, you get rid of it, and a few days later you're angry, there's still more you got to say. Let it out. More pieces will come out. Put it on paper. It's tangible. You can hold it, right? So now, what you'll notice is each time you write, you'll have less to say. You might even start off saying things that are bitter and hateful to, you know what? I wish you all the best. Hope you find peace. Hope you get therapy. Hope you change. I'm going to be happy too. And you burn that one too. And what will happen is after a few times, you won't need to do it anymore. This is a great exercise, especially if you're somebody who struggles to communicate. You don't know how to talk about your feelings. And worse, if you're a man and you don't know how to be direct and straightforward, because whatever, you grew up in a dysfunctional home, you've been beaten down many times, this is a great exercise to build up your confidence. Write down your feelings, your thoughts, your emotions, and you visualize it, right? That also helps for that too. And exactly what Jimmy said. You can keep repeating it every few days, but you'll notice that after the first time, all the emotions will start fading away and you'll have nothing more to write. Give that a go. This is going to give your brain the feeling that you got the job done. Now you said your piece. That's it. You got a little bit more closure. And that can help. Definitely give that a go. Christian, thank you again for your time and effort, my brother. You're more than welcome. Your work has been enlightening to me and to many others. 2 of my friends recently went through separate but damaging breakups, and I referred them to your channel. I can already see the difference you made on them. Please keep doing what you do to help as many people out there as you can. I always keep you in my prayers. Much love to you. I really appreciate that, Jimmy. Well, guys, that's the video. This is the Zeigarnik effect, right? You pretty much give your brain the feeling that you're in control. You got the job done. There's nothing left to say. There's nothing left to do. Mission complete. So if you're feeling nostalgic after a breakup, if you feel stuck, you just can't move on. You have resentment, anger, you're bitter towards them. And look, if they betrayed you, you have every right to feel that way. Write your emotions down. And you'll notice exactly that. It's going to be, all nasty and horrible. And then as you write a few more times, you'll be calmer, you'll be more peaceful. You'll have less nasty things to say. To the point where you will even want to wish them well. Because forgiveness isn't about the other person. It's about you. It's about you letting go. Because whenever somebody wrongs you or hurts you, it's not your fault. You weren't deserving of that treatment. There's nothing you could have done that warranted your ex to betray you, right? Many people struggle with this guilt and they somehow convince themselves that, well, I guess I deserved it. Maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe if I tried harder or if I made more of an effort, they wouldn't have done this to me. Wrong. Their behavior has nothing to do with you. Human beings, we say and do things based on how we feel about ourselves in every given moment. They're dysfunctional, they're emotionally messed up, they have unresolved trauma, childhood relationships, right? They have addictions, mental problems, unhealthy coping mechanisms. They have anger and hurt, right? They don't love themselves. They don't know how to. They don't know how to process their emotions. That's why they do that to other people, because that's how they feel about themselves. They don't know any better. They're broken people. That's why you must always forgive. You must never be vengeful, right? Oh, I want revenge, I'm going to get them back. I'm going to move on to show them a lesson. I want to show them that I'm better off without them. It should never be about that. Your recovery process after a betrayal is about you being okay by yourself. and just preparing yourself for your future. Take the experience for what it's worth. Learn from it. Avoid those red flags for the next time. And that's it. Look, you should never wish pain on anyone who's wronged you. Karma will take care of them. You reap what you sow in life. Unless they go to therapy, pick up a Bible, or they change for their own future, then they're just going to go down a dark path. They're going to keep hurting people. They're going to keep ruining their relationships, and they're going to end up alone and miserable because they can't maintain a stable connection because they don't have that with themselves to begin with. And it's not your job to fix them or change them. So don't hold on to that. Don't, be like the Grinch, right? You're holding a grudge. You're just angry at your ex. Don't. Breathe. Let go. Get a piece of paper, write down how they wronged you. Then you toss that away. You burn that. And anytime you have negative emotions, keep repeating that until those horrible feelings become more peaceful. Because you aren't like that. Don't lower yourself to their standards. Okay, don't lower yourself to their level. Okay, be better than that. Be a better person. Right? So, if you still feel nostalgic, if you're still holding on, you know what to do. Okay? Moving on is your responsibility. And, look, everybody's had an ex that's done them wrong, that's hurt them. If you get into a relationship, at some point, there's going to be some level of pain. And when it comes to a betrayal, it's the worst kind. But you don't need to stay that way, right? Stuck in that fear, right? Or I'm never going to trust anyone again, right? They're all the same. That mindset will kill you too. All right, so it's your responsibility to heal. Forgive, okay? Forgive, but never forget. Use it as a reference point. You can look back at your relationship from a place of strength. Thanks to this experience, I'm going to raise my standards. I'm going to raise the bar. Now I know to never get involved with someone like this. I've seen the red flags. Right? I know how that story plays out. And next time I see the signs, I'm going to get out. That's it. Alright, so I hope this video has helped you. If you're new to the channel, feel free to hit the subscribe button. I post videos weekly. If you would like to share a story with me, a situation, something that you're dealing with, the email will be down in the description. And any of the video topics, any suggestions you have, also let me know in the comment section down below. And with that said, hope you all stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.